ECD about 2 years ago, and it was an initiative that I brought to the church based on the exposure that I had when we went to a diaconical conference, and I heard about a Smart Start. We always wanted to find something that we can minister to our community, especially a community that is very impoverished. And we were able to identify and start our ECDC there. We began by building a informal structure, if you could put it that way. We put our own money into it, and we got some good assistance from our friends from Denendal and the Berserk just to finish it off. So that was the early start that we did about 2 years ago. The biggest challenge is actually the infrastructure. That was one. Just building something safe for the children, and not even using professionals, using our own congregants to build that structure. Two, it was the issue of safety for the children. The kitchen, where you put the kitchen, you don't have much space to maneuver. Then the third issue was the toilet facilities. We couldn't get for them that was suitable for the children. And then it came to the teaching itself. How do we train our teachers? And I guess this is where Smart Start really helped us to train our people.
The Smart Start changed my life, really, because there was something that I was thinking I know. But when I deal with Smart Start, I just found that there are some things that I don't know, and Smart Start learned me a lot about the children.
When it comes to ECDC, we want to grow, because right now we've got about 20 kids with 2 teachers. It is very important for us to really study right now before we grow, to really see what works, what doesn't work on a smaller scale, and try to spread the sense of early child development to other areas as well. The second thing is, how do you get the community involved? How do you empower these parents as well that are connected to these children? How do you link to make sure that what is happening, this development that is happening with the children, how can it influence the parents as well? How do you serve the parents? So these are other things that we are looking at, that whatever facilities that we do, we must try to make it bigger so that it does not just become an early child development, but it can even become a training center for skills and development for their parents as well. So those are the 2 things we're trying to do to make sure that we don't just concentrate on the children, because if you just concentrate on the children and you leave the parents behind, whatever work that you are doing, it will just go back, because they still have to go to an environment that might be not conducive for learning. The rewards are beyond imagination. I think the first reward is to see the smiles, the excitement of the children when they come in the morning. They want to be there. You know, it's not parents dragging their children, crying. 2, it's when you have the graduation itself, end of the year, and the children do some singing, they do some recitations and stuff like that. And I think these are 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds. Their level of memory is just amazing. And when we go for excursions, I think 2 weeks ago, we went for their first excursion to the botanical gardens here. You have to take into account, as you will see, that the place that we are residing, our creche, there's hardly grass, there's hardly trees. So when we took them to the botanical gardens, it hurts, but it's true that what we take for normality, to them it needs to be an excursion, which is supposed to be part of their life. So when you see them playing in the grass, climbing trees, this is what it's supposed to be like. But you have to go out of your way to get them to experience what is other people experience and take for granted. So the rewards are enormous. And we believe that if you really want to make a great impact, the first 5 years of the child is the one that you really have to influence. As you would know that China invests more money on early child development than they do when it comes to tertiary education. Just to tell you, if you don't get the foundation strong, you lose the children. So we really believe in that. We want to see changes in the early stages of our children.
When I'm teaching the children, I really enjoy it because I'm trying to be like them when I'm teaching them. I just forget that I'm an adult. I become a child when I'm teaching the children.
When it comes to the congregation, I think the fundamental role that they played was to build the structure. The second phase now we are in is to see our congregants who are financially viable to start adopting children there, not literally taking them to their homes, but supporting them financially, but as well as supporting their families if they are able to do so, because as we indicated, these are very impoverished people. So we want the church to take a bigger initiative in that regard. The women that work there are from our congregation, but we still have bigger plans for our congregation to be on a consistent interaction with that Smart Start program. When it comes to the parents, they are blown away, to say the least, because one, when you call meetings, they come, which is rare because parents don't usually come to these meetings. But they come, they are interested, they are highly involved. But on our last excursion to the botanical gardens, we invited the parents to come with. For them, it was like touching. They never knew there was some place like that in George, and they live here and work here. And seeing them being exposed to this life and to these opportunities, it really changes it. And because of their children are being with our ECDC program. And their involvement is what impresses us. And with the things that we want to achieve, they really, really are supportive because they can see the vision. That the vision is, if you make sure that the child has good foundation, when they go to grade 1, they are set for life. I believe that my greatest ambition in life is how do we change South Africa and Africa, literally. I truly believe that we can, but we need to learn and start small. So my calling is not just to be a pastor of this congregation. My calling is to see in the advancement of all human beings and all to receive opportunities. So when I look at these children, my question is, how can I give them the same quality education that people across the bridge are getting whilst they are there, so that they are able to compete and contribute to our country for the betterment? So if we don't take that serious and do the practical things and put them in place, like early child development, we are in trouble. We are in trouble because the inequalities that we have in South Africa is one of the greatest in the world. And education is part of trying to close that gap. So the cycle of poverty must come to an end. And we need to take drastic measures to make those things happen. And that is my calling. I think the first thing that the Lord is doing is to open people's eyes, and starting with mine. There's certain things that one takes for granted because of the privilege that one has. So the first thing he does, he opens your eyes. Then he opens your heart. it is hard to see what God sees. Sometimes you don't want to see it because it makes you feel as if you are not doing enough. And but your heart keeps on pumping. God is creating. He has never stopped creating. But he's really dealing with our hearts and minds and how we view ourselves and how we view others, as small as children, you know. So life is in the simpler things than the things that we think are more luxurious and extraordinary. And as much as the children are happy, but you still know that you must secure their future. And their future is in God's hands. And he assures us of that sometimes we just focus on what you're doing and leave the rest to him, you know. So sometimes you want to do everything, but I've learned that the Lord opens your eyes, opens your heart, focus on this, and leave the rest to him.